Good evening, everyone, and welcome to day 5 of Our Children Matter. I don't know if you've been with us for this entire week. I mean, can you imagine 5 days of talking about our children? I hope you have. But we actually started this conversation in 2011 as a gift to our community. Ignite Your Soul Connection was to help people move into and through the ascension process. It's more of a spiritual education than anything else. My name is Rita Stewart, and many people call me Mushim Sut, which is my spiritual name. I am the owner of Master Force and the founder of Master Force International Leadership Academy. And tonight we have two of our awesome coaches having a wonderful dialogue with me about what it's like to have our children live outside of the matrix. Now, I bet most of you didn't even know your children were living in the matrix, did you? Most of us don't even know that we're living in the matrix. So you just sit back, get your favorite beverage, hopefully it's some alkaline water, and just listen and be open to seeing what you can learn and discover for yourself and your children. So now I'm going to introduce you to Oran Manson. Oran, will you come in and please tell our audience about yourself, what you do, how long you've been with Master Force, and even what had you become a life coach? Oran?
Okay, so I am Orion Manson. I am a transformational life coach at Interchangeable. And I have been a Master Force, um, coach
Certified,
since
right, right.
certified since 2015.
20.
Certified since 2015. So little over 6 years, and it has been a great ride. And I met Moo at a party that my wife of one of her friends from childhood. And I walked into this party and I'm meeting everybody, and this lady is sitting over there and she glowing. She just her spirit was just glowing and glowing and glowing. And I was like, man, who is that? And everybody that she came in contact with was just happy after she got through talking to her. So I finally get the chance to talk to this sister, and I'm like, wow, I turned to my wife. She is amazing. You need to come meet her. We talked for what, the whole party?
The whole
We
party,
talked for
three,
about
four
the whole
hours.
party. I didn't get I didn't get to meet nobody else after that. We was just connected. Our souls, the spirit was just connected. That was my new friend. I had fell in love, especially when she told me she had her own spiritual name. I was like, what? I need to get one of those. But yeah, it's been since 2015, and the reason why I became a life coach is because I wanted to fix myself.
Mm.
I wanted to get and learn how to fix myself, and because I thought I was broken. And I was broken because I was using all the wrong tools. And it's interesting that we're talking about living outside the matrix tonight, because everything that I was doing and the way that I was living was outside of what my true identity and my authentic self was. So,
Mhm.
yeah, that's what it is for tonight.
Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you so much for being here and your gracious wife. Because I remember that when she walked over and she just stood there and listened. And I was like, oh, this is his woman. I didn't know it was your wife, right? I said, oh, okay.
Look, you about to get beat up at the party.
Right. Wouldn't be
She
the first
understood.
time.
She understood. She know I'm not on no shenanigans or
No,
anything like
right,
that.
right. And you were like, look, this woman certifies life coaches. And that was it. Then she and I connected. Yeah. So
Yep.
that was
Yep. It was interesting because we had just got through having that conversation. I was like, I think I should become a life coach. And boom, the universe moved me right into Mill's orbit, and got certified.
isn't that something? I mean, right
Yep.
away, both of you went through the program. That was what was great because Dr. Sandra
Yep.
said, we both want to do it. I was like, okay.
Yep.
So thank you.
Same year. Same year that we got met, that we met. It's like, okay, let's make it happen and let's do it. And my life has changed drastically ever since.
But that's wonderful.
Ever since. So I'm grateful for you, Mo. I really
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you too, both of you. All right, Tanner, the new kid on the block. Introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself, and remember, you're new, so you got to give us all the good stuff.
No, I will. I will. So my name is Shuntez Tanner. Everyone tends to call me Tanner by my last name. I guess people have difficulty pronouncing my first name, but I'm with it. I go along with it. Um, Professionally, I'm a director of program management at one of the top defense countries in the world. Can't talk a lot about what I do, but I do keep us safe as a nation. And I just want everybody to know that freedom is not free. There's a price that's paid. There's billions of dollars that's spent every day just so that we can be on here right now having this conversation.
Yeah.
I was led to Master Force and moved through one of my good friends, Stephanie, whom
Mm.
Stephanie Nichols, whom me and Stephanie went to Tuskegee University together.
Okay.
We matriculated toward our undergraduate together. We're both from Chicago. I'm from the west side of Chicago. Stephanie's actually from the south side. But when we met in school, anybody that knows about going to a HBCU and being away from home, when you get that connection with people that's from where you from, it's just
Solid.
it's a
Mm-hmm.
family, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a life-changing partnership that transcends far beyond the collegiate experience. um, but I saw that Stephanie had completed the program. I think she's probably 2 years now since she's completed her certification.
Mm-hmm.
So I had been toying with the idea of, getting some type of a certification in counseling or life coaching, because even though my background, I guess I would say I went to school for business and management, I've always been a leader and a coacher and an advisor to many.
Mm.
It's something that's just always come naturally to me. My birth card is a jack of clubs,
Okay.
very intuitive. I draw energies to me naturally. Always been a master teacher to some sort, to others, and I've just always felt like this was my life work. I'm also a minister as well.
Wonderful.
So it just went hand in hand with one another, and you know during the pandemic, it just allowed me to reevaluate my life and what I was doing and if I was actually living in my purpose. And as a result of that, I decided to go through the program, and that's what got me here. It was one of the best decisions that I've ever made. I think the universe led me to you as well.
Thank you.
And like I said, the connection was natural, just instant. And I'm so grateful for Master Force. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for, your life purpose and just living your life purpose out, because without you, there wouldn't be no us today as
Wow.
far as us doing what we doing. So I just want to pay homage to you and to give you your flowers and to let you and to just thank you for all that you do for humanity and the love that you give, to us as human beings. I just want to thank you for
Okay, I'm letting that in, but trying not to cry. Thank you
It's
so
okay.
much. I know
that.
I received that. Thank you. That really, I got it. Thank you. Thank you. Y'all gotta forgive me. This is a full moon in Capricorn tonight. Look at that. We got a full
Right.
moon in Capricorn for this
Yes,
conversation. We
yes,
couldn't have asked for a better joint, right?
yes.
Doing the what do
Yeah.
you call it? Mercury retrograde shadow. So we might get a lot of tears tonight. Who knows? So I want to
Yep.
get on with this conversation because when Spirit told me to have this conversation, I'm like you, Tanner. I'm like, well, where are we going? Where, do I need to watch the movie again? you know, I tried to do my little, dress up a little bit
I
to.
see you. I see you. And I took the more millennial approach.
That's
But I'm
wonderful.
here. I'm present.
No, that's wonderful. So I want to ask you, both of you, when we're having, as we have this conversation, what does it look like for our children to actually be living in the matrix? So how do we actually define that our children and even us, that we're living in the matrix? Can you actually give some idea of that so parents can see what we're talking about before we talking about living outside of it? Either one
I
of you.
lost you guys. I
Oh,
lost you guys. So I just heard that question. Who did you want to go first?
you can go ahead, Ron.
Okay. All right. So for me, living inside the matrix is about classism and separation and division and programming. And it's basically about programming the masses to work a system of production, you know, and make sure that that system is working like a well-oiled machine.
Mm,
And so it and it's also one of the most important tools of this matrix and this system is fear. And so they use fear to control people. So people that are living inside of the matrix, they not in tune with themselves. They not tapped into their authentic self of who they are and who they're supposed to be. They are basically in survival mode
mm,
where everything is about survival and they just trying to make it to the next day. They don't know about their own power and they just running the rat race. And it looks like that for children. And for children, you can find them by not living who they truly are.
mhm.
And they just following along with the crowd. They didn't turn their own voice down and
Mm.
they just doing what they're being programmed to do and just following along. So that's what that looks like for me.
Yeah. What would you add to that, Tanner?
You know, it's hard to come behind that because he kind of covered it from all four corners. But if I would just like to add, pretty much what he said, just being subject to, Western society and the systems that have been set up for us as far as, keeping us down, keeping us from growing and maturing and developing into our whole self,
Mm,
knowing our
Mhm.
purpose, fully knowing our purpose, fully knowing the power that we possess, fully knowing our history and our lineage and what lies within us from a spiritual perspective. Just like I said, like he said, the fear of, if I do this or if I don't do it based on the rules that have been published and set out, I'm going to fail or I'm not going to be able to reach that goal. And all of that, as Ron said, it's by design. It's designed to keep you stagnant. It's designed to keep you intact, and it's designed pretty much to keep control over you and to stop you from becoming the person that you're really supposed to be.
wow. So would it be fair to say that, because you guys, yeah, you put it all wrapped, but would it be fair to say that this programming takes place in medicine, it takes place in food, it takes place in education, it takes place in the media, it takes place in
Absolutely.
church?
Every aspect of this Western society that we live in has been purposely planned out to control the people
Mm-hmm.
and to
And
promote an agenda behind it.
and let me add to that too.
Yeah.
It comes from your family too.
It comes from your family too.
It
Yep.
it comes from your family and your closest friends. It comes from your environment too. It's plenty of ways that we are being programmed that we don't even know. So, with me, I like to sit down and watch TV with my children and,
Mm-hmm.
and my kids. What games are they watching? And it's crazy because I see the symbolism even in cartoons.
Yes,
You can
that's
see
where
the
it starts.
symbolism
That's
in
right.
cartoons,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wow, they are really flashing these colors to tap into their crown chakra to get them to be more susceptible to this message that they
That's right.
programmed. And I have to tell her, watch this message, watch that message. That's what they trying to get to you there. So when I'm not around, she'll be equipped for it and how to decipher. She get mad and say, "Daddy, why it always got to be so serious?" Because it is.
It
They are
is
fighting for your
serious.
consciousness. They are
And
fighting
that
for your consciousness.
that's right.
They
I
want your
get the
creative
same
power.
reaction. I get the
Yep.
exact same reaction.
Now,
Yeah.
how old are
Yep.
your children? Both of you. How old are your children?
So my kids, I got grown kids. I got one. I got from my first marriage and when I was out in the street.
That's right.
I
Be
got,
real with it. Come on. Be
I
real
got
with
a,
it.
I, I don't have nothing. I
That's
don't
right.
have nothing.
Right.
So I got a 30-year-old, 29, and want to be 28. And then my other sons through marriage is 22, 21, and to be 17. And then we have a 12-year-old together.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I haven't been as busy as Ron has. I have a 15-year-old daughter, soon to be 16, and I have a 10-year-old son, soon to be 11. So
Nice.
I'm kind of tapering behind him a bit, but that's enough. I think that's gonna be it for us.
But you know the
That's
reason
good stuff.
that is great, right? The reason that I wanted to have that in play is so that as our audience is listening, they can hear the context in which you're placing your conversation. We're not
Hmm.
talking about, all your children aren't grown. We are talking about influential minds.
Hmm.
And you already gave us a hint, Oran, that one of the things we need to do is sit with our children and watch what they're
Hmm.
watching. But not only that, we need to look at the work that they're doing in school, because this whole programming of homosexuality, and trust me, I'm not against any of it. I have plenty of friends, we have coaches who choose that life. So I'm not against it, but the programming of it is out of place.
I agree with that.
I
Can I
totally
speak to
agree.
that? I tend to try to tread lightly over this subject,
Yeah.
because I don't want to offend nobody.
Nobody.
And besides, who you having sex with is none of my business.
It's none of
So
my
I don't.
business. I'm not
I
in your
think I think
bedroom. Right.
I think that as Americans we're hypersexual and over sexualized in our TV programming and all the rest of that in our music, especially in African American and Black.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I agree. Tanner, you can jump in there because it seemed like he's having some internet. What were you gonna say to that?
No, I was gonna say, as far as that agenda, it is being pushed at an all-time high. Just look at everything that we see on TV. Look at the movies. Go to Netflix. Every other movie you put up, they're pushing the agenda, and I'm one as well. I support anyone in whoever they choose to be. I think that we all should show up as ourselves, and that we all
Exactly.
should have the ability to be free
Yeah.
and to live authentically, to be who we are.
Yes.
But you know, uh, just going back to the aspect of what you spoke about the training,
Yes.
a lot of that stuff takes place at an early age and is pushed, even with the just basic over sexualization of heterosexuality.
That's right.
That's pushed
That's
at a
pushed
young
too.
age. You
Yes.
can't you can't watch a programming on TV right now and not see some type of sexual aspect being included in that programming.
Wow.
And that piggybacks on what you state as far as us parents. We have to be cognitive of that, and we have to be present as far as understanding what our kids are getting involved in and what they're seeing,
Mhm.
and the behaviors that they're picking up and all of that. Like right now, me and my son are having a battle because I'm not a fan of TikTok. I don't like a lot of the stuff that I see on TikTok. So it's like, you know, you're gonna be coming off here pretty soon if some things don't change, if it's some stuff that I don't like.
Yeah.
um but just taking all that into consideration.
Yeah, I got into a confrontation with my son. I think he may have been 12 when New Jack City came out. And when New Jack City came out, one of my girlfriends was like, "Hey, let's go see New Jack City." And I said, "Yeah." So when she came to my house, she had her two sons with her. And I said, "Oh, I'm not taking my son." I said, she said, "Well, why not?" I said, "Because first of all, I don't know what this movie is about, and it looks pretty intense. And I don't want that influence on him until I have a chance to break it down for myself, and then we can look at it together. But I don't want that
Absolutely.
influence right now, right?" So we go to the movie with her sons, and I promise you, sitting there, she was like, "I wish I wouldn't have brought them."
And
Because
I'd also like to add too, like right now, a lot of people are allowing the electronics to babysit and teach their kids, you
yeah,
know, and they're pulling back as far as the involvement is concerned. I
yeah,
can remember when I was young, you know, it was a routine. When you come home, you doing your homework. You're not running to a phone. You're not running
yeah. But
on,
now all their
you know,
homework is on the phone. It's on the
exactly. It
iPad.
is.
It's on the
Yep.
laptop.
So aside from the checking the homework and making sure that they're doing what they need to do as it relates to that, you got to come back and check the social aspect of what they're
Wow.
doing.
Yep.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah.
Yes, you do. You got to have, with my 12-year-old, we have certain things set up as parameters with that she can't get through to, and everything that she downloads, it got to come through us, and we got to look at it. But it's a lot of stuff out there, the TikToks, the Snapchats, and all the rest of that. And we was just having a conversation last night about bullying and people exposing other people to other people's bullying and how it's promotion also and stuff like that. So you really have to be in tune with your kids and you have to watch it. And it's hard to do because everything is so accessible right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of information out there for them to get to and handle at the drop of a dime.
Yes.
and
So
as
yeah,
and as parents too, I would like to add for those parents that may not know, there are all types of tools and tracking devices where you can control every aspect of what comes through your children's phone. So, you know, you got a lot of parents that say, well, you know, I don't allow my child to have a Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat, but they go behind my back and do it. If you pay that phone bill and you pay for that service that it come through, you can manage it. You know,
yeah,
so that's just an excuse for not showing up and being, you know, that parent that you're supposed to be. And I tell my kids, you know, if I pay the bill, I got the password. I got to have a password to everything. If you feel like I can't have a password, then you may want to relinquish that device until you can pay your own bill. You
And,
know,
and
and once I lay
sound
it out like
and, and,
that,
and, and just so you know, Tanner, you sound like a tyrant. And however, however, let me say that I probably sounded like a tyrant with my kids too. But I didn't do the I pay the bills thing. I think that's a man thing. But I
no,
believe
I think that's a new age approach that we have to have with
no,
the newer kids.
my grandmother used to say that this is my house, and I really refrained from doing that because the point that I want to make is a lot of parents are allowing what you said before just to let the children have free reign, but that's why so many children are missing. You
Yeah.
cannot do the free
mm,
reign stuff in this environment. You
wow.
cannot. So I would rather you occur as a firm parent, because that shows more care than a parent that says, "Oh, well, I just give them that device and get them out of my hair." No, I'd rather you, yeah,
And even in the conversation, it's jokey when I'm
yeah,
talking to
yeah,
them.
yeah,
But like you said, being firm and direct,
yeah.
but you know, not lecturing or being a tie. I work on that every day
I
as
bet,
far as
yeah.
becoming more of a coach.
I know,
Oh, well,
right?
good for you because I'm a tourist and I have to run through my house like a bull in a China house sometimes.
That
I
is
Just
used
let
to
them
have
know.
that. I
right.
Let
used
them
to
in.
have that approach, but no one liked me when I was having that approach. So I had to switch it up. I had to change it a
You
little
know
bit.
what? I do it in love, but I sometimes you just gotta let loose.
Yeah.
You depending
But
on
you
what's
have to
going
let
on.
them
You got
know. But when they
yeah.
get older, when my children are grown, right? All of them are grown. And so I do get the, oh, I understand now. I can see what you
Mm-hmm.
were doing.
Yep.
The grudge and the resentment is gone because they can see that there's a difference in first of all in their consciousness.
Oh yeah.
There's a difference in
Mm-hmm.
their
Yep.
consciousness, because if you let your kids all the horror movies and all of that affects your brain. It's not just entertainment.
Yes.
Playing video games that
Yes.
shoot guns all the time is not just entertainment. It's highly
Could
influential.
I add to that?
Yes.
Could I add to that?
Come on.
So a couple of years, I think I forgot how long GTA or Grand Theft Auto has been out.
Yes.
But but
Go
this
ahead,
new
brother.
generation, they are playing this game.
Yep.
They are playing the game of Grand Theft Auto.
On the
And I
street.
don't think that we understand. Right.
And
And
which is why
so
in the city of Chicago, we have a carjacking problem right now where you can't even drive your car up and down the street without
exactly.
But
being
isn't
carjacked.
that Grand Theft
Exactly.
Auto?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yep. And they acting like they playing the game. They take
That's
the
right.
game, they steal your car, they shoot up people and kill people, and then they dump the car and just
Like
get
a
out and
piece of
leave.
trash, like a piece
Yeah,
of paper.
it's
Wow.
crazy. And so that's part of their programming.
That's
So
part of the program.
now the game, and most of that is about today is about zombies, right? So I don't know what's coming next, but
You say
it's
it is
crazy.
already about zombies because the zombies are coming with all this
Yeah.
other stuff happening with the food and inoculations and
So
all that.
most games are like zombie apocalypse,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
and sniping and your Call of Duties about shooting and killing and stuff
Yes.
like that. So
Yes.
you really got to watch it and teach your kids how to, I guess, deprogram
Yeah,
and
so let's move
be
into the
themselves and take care of
deprogramming. That's right.
themselves.
That's right. Deprogram.
Right.
It's so interesting because years ago when my son was young enough to buy his own Atari or whatever that was, right? There was a rule. Yeah, you bought it with your money, but you get 2 hours on it. And that's including television.
Mhm.
So you can split it up an hour with television and an hour with the game, but you're not gonna sit and play all night and that was me being tyrannical. So but it was like that was and because
Yeah.
we're still gonna have family time, we're still gonna do homework, we're still gonna sit and play Monopoly or whatever it is that we're doing, and we're still gonna meditate. It was like those are the things that are included in our time together, and it's not gonna be taken by this game. So
Hmm.
what kind of reprogramming, how do children reprogram, how do parents participate in the reprogramming, what does that actually look like?
One thing about me and my family, I'm always taking a temperature gauge of what's going on, what you thinking. Even when they don't ask me about it, I'm like, hey, I noticed something about the way you handled this, that, and the other. What's going on with that? I don't know. That's what you get all the time. I don't know. And well, I don't know. It's not acceptable in my house.
Right.
So you gotta come with a different excuse, right? You gotta, or I'm gonna tell you, you know what? I'm gonna give you a day to think about that, and then we're gonna revisit it and see what's going on. So I use reflection,
Mm-hmm.
and I sit down and I talk to them, and I just use my words a lot and have them to sit and meditate. And sometimes I let them in, like my daughter, into my sacred space. Hey, you having some emotional things that's going on. Why don't you go sit in my sacred space and relax for a little bit
Mm-hmm.
and deprogram, meditate, just think about what you're thinking about, so all of those things that I teach them: mindfulness,
Yeah.
tapping into your center,
Yeah.
meditation, reflection,
Mm-hmm.
journaling, things like that. Those are all ways to, and then I make them question everything. You learned this at church. What is that about? Let's use some deductive reasoning
Mm-hmm.
and see what and see it. So my thing is I'm getting them to question everything. Don't just accept it because it comes from me. Don't just accept it because it comes from the church or your mama said so, or the school and the teachers. Does that make sense? Is it the truth, or is that a
It does.
belief?
That's good.
So that's how the things that I use to deprogram my kids
Hmm.
and myself.
Right, and yourself, right. What about you, Tanner?
I use a lot of those same techniques, and even as it relates to the deprogramming, you know, I bound the time that my kids are able to have their, electronic devices and to be on social media. Well, TikTok, because that's pretty much all I let I don't even my daughter's 16. She still doesn't have an Instagram or a Facebook. I'm
Hmm.
still standing adamant to that.
Hmm.
That I know of, she don't have one. Let me put that out there. Um,
Right.
but I use a lot of those same tactics, and I've really been pushing the importance of the breathing and the meditating and just reflecting, daily, on your life, your daily experiences. What did I learn today? You know, what did that teach me? If it was something that I didn't fully understand, what questions do you have about that experience? Or,
Hmm.
what further research do you need to know to get that understanding? Just pushing them to get to a place where Ron said, just thinking outside the box and developing a personal opinion
Hmm.
about things and about society instead of just going along with the flow.
Hmm.
That leads me to my next question. What would it look like if our children really did have freedom of thought? I mean, both of you, gave, ways to lead to that, but what would it look like, Orion?
So for me, transformation is everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And transformation is the way for you to tap into your true self, your authentic self, where you can love on yourself and love other people for who they are.
Mm-hmm.
We will have a much better society, much better family members and communities if people are encouraged to live more authentically
Mm-hmm.
because they would be happier, they would be who they are, and it would be okay. And they will be better as a person, better as a family member, better as a student, as a member in society. So that type of person is somebody that's tapped in and tuned in and aligned with their true authentic self,
Mm-hmm.
and they are practicing what they feel from the inside, not what is being dropped on them and bombarded on them. They living authentically, and it's kind of hard for kids because they still trying to figure it out, like,
Yeah.
is this me or is this not me, or do I like this or do I like that?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say just have a conversation with yourself, and then have a conversation with some family members or people that you respect, and so that you can come up with the truth about what's good for you,
Mm-hmm.
and not nobody else, even if it's your parents, or a family member, or a teacher or something like that. You got to
Mm-hmm.
tap into yourself, your true self.
Mm-hmm. What would you add to that, Tanner?
In addition, I would say I think that we'd have a lot less violence.
Mm-hmm.
We'd have a lot less people that's able to get their thoughts out, that's able to get their perspectives out as it relates to life. In addition, I think that we would probably have a lot more entrepreneurs, business owners, people
Mm-hmm.
that are living authentically in their true self, doing the things that they really were created to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we would have the trampling down of a lot of these systems that have been developed to quote unquote show us what we're supposed to be doing or how we're supposed to be living, instead of us just going ahead just authentically being free and being the beings that we were spiritually created to be.
That reminds me of the conversation. I think on Monday and Tuesday, speakers spoke about the importance of the natal charts and the destiny
Absolutely.
cards for young people, and helping them to really get clear about who are you as compared to
Mhm.
who somebody thinks you are, or what do you want to be when you grow up. Which may,
Mhm.
you can want to be something because you.
And that right there in itself is a form of mimic. You're
Yeah.
telling a child from the very beginning, you have to choose something that you see, that you have to aspire
Right.
towards, that's totally backwards. That's not the way you should be growing and developing.
Yeah. Yeah. So the actual looking at the charts, or And that was the whole thing about Roots, right? The guy held up the child, and the sage was over there
Yeah.
writing out the circles and the X's and what the planets look like, and that's how you get your name, from the alignment of the
Yep.
planets.
Yep.
Yeah, so
Yep.
that's really
Let me tell you,
yeah.
I didn't know who I was or my purpose until I got my natal chart done.
Oh, say more about
Because
that. Hmm.
so for me, as when you growing up, especially around my age, you taught to be a doctor, a lawyer, Indian chief, or
Matter of
something
fact,
like
you
that. I'm
get
just playing. But
prestige. Come on, yes.
right, right. So nobody says you're a coach or you're an exhorter,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Nobody says that. That's not a job description. And the one that may be similar to it is a counselor, right?
Yep.
But it's ironic because they really downplay the help of a counselor, right? A
Yep.
counselor is not something that's idolized or shined up on or anything like that. And so you don't grow up thinking that, you know what, I counsel people, I encourage people, I help people out,
What a
I
gift
coach people,
that
I
is,
should be a
right?
coach. That
Yeah.
was that was never on a job description for us. Never. So I grew up like, okay, I don't know what I'm good at. But then I had to think about, well, what do people come to me for? And it hit me. It hit me that, I started praying. I was like, God, just let me know what my purpose is and this, that, and the other. And then I get a phone call from somebody with a
But you
problem.
still not
And then
connected,
I feel like,
right?
right. It took me forever. It took me forever. And then I was like, I still was in denial because I was like, I don't know how to make money with that. How you making money with this? You know what I'm supposed to do with this? Of course, I'm a tourist too, so
Yeah, oh,
I'm
you
all
got to
about the
make
money.
money. Yes.
But yeah, so I'm like, man, I don't see it. So I battled with it, and of course, the Awakened Magi, Timothy
Yeah.
Glenn, he
Yes.
he did my chart. He's like, hey brother, you
Yeah.
you a writer, you this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
You here to encourage people and all the rest of that. And I was forever grateful. He's another one that means so much to my life that
Yes.
is very impactful in my life. So
Yes.
yeah, if you don't have your natal chart done, please see the Waking Magi.
The
And
awakened
isn't
Yeah,
it
mind.
amazing too? Isn't it amazing too, Brian? As much as you try to um, run away from what you should be doing, the universe just pull you right back there. I don't care how
yeah,
long it takes. Literally, it can take a whole lifetime. But the way that this world is set up, you absolutely cannot die without doing what you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
Life is gonna eventually pull you there.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And the crazy part about it is I was trying to shut myself off, right? I call myself shutting myself off from the
I don't
rest
want
of
to
the
hear
world and
nobody else's
hiding.
problems. I don't want nobody reaching out to me. I ain't got nothing else to say. Live, do what you got to do, go through it, learn the lesson. Don't call me.
Exactly.
Don't call me. It's too much stress.
Exactly.
It's too much
Exactly.
drama.
Yeah. And then it come right to your household, right?
Yes, yes,
it's,
absolutely.
sit
Show
right,
right up
sit right in your,
and sit
and
right
then
in
your
front of your
bedroom.
face.
Yep. Yep. Ain't no way of getting around it.
You gonna learn
That is
today.
true. Exactly. If you don't, you go keep running into that brick wall that's 3 feet in front of you.
Absolutely,
No,
absolutely.
Yeah.
but that's real. Both of you are telling the truth. And I love what you said about that, because the occupation does not necessarily speak to your true gifts, your authentic gifts. Can you imagine? And I told somebody the other day, I put on Facebook, I said, before anybody called me, what's the first thing they should do? And a couple of people said, hit your cash app. I say, I wish they would. I would be double rich if that was the case. But no, not that. Because I had to learn long time ago that giving my gifts had nothing to do with my cash flow.
Yeah,
You
because
know,
your gift eventually makes room for your cash flow. The
well,
cash gonna
I'm not
flow to
right.
you.
But see, the world has us attached to our cash flow. When
Exactly.
you in alignment, the universe is abundant. You gonna be taken care of, right? Literally,
Yeah.
you're going to be taken care of. But most of the time, we're not open to receive. That's what our work is, being able to
Yeah.
receive, because the universe is every day is trying to provide. Every day is providing for us. But most
Mhm.
of the time, we're so independent and so stuck in tunnel vision. I got to do it like this. I got to do it like this. And if I do it like that, it'll come. But the universe already giving it to us. But the real answer was breathe to center before you call me.
Yep. 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 That's because we caught up in that matrix. We say we outside the matrix, but we got beat over the head.
Oh,
I don't
come
know
on.
about Tanner. He a couple of he younger than me, but we got beat over the head about how to make money.
Yep.
This is the way that you got to do it. From
Oh yeah.
from making money to buying a house to getting credit, they laid it out to follow this programming.
Yeah.
And so a
Yeah,
lot of us
it was a blueprint that you
subconsciously,
were supposed
The
to follow.
blueprint, right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yep, yep. So a lot of us are still so subconsciously following that, and that's what I love about today's new generation. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
man.
I know we're gonna talk about it later. I'll discuss it then.
No, you can
Yeah,
go and
but
bring it
yeah, this
up.
new
You just
generation, they
started
got
now. We can go ahead because I love how the millennials
so,
live
so
too.
yeah, because they don't have a fear about anything,
Mm-mm.
especially they the social media age, right? So it's so many ways that they are making money
Yeah.
on the
Being
internet and through
themselves.
social media.
Being themselves. Yes.
Yeah, and I love it. I love it. And I be trying to tap into that energy, because I'm not no social media head, but I
Right.
need to be a social media head,
Right.
but yeah,
One thing
so
that
it's like they got
no, I was gonna say you gotta
they
be
got
fit
so
for
many
the
different
future.
ways.
Go ahead. Wait a minute.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I
Mm-hmm.
That's
think it's a
true.
lag. He probably just heard what I
That
said,
is
but
true.
that
Yeah,
apprehension,
yeah, I
at
did.
some point that falls off from you, but you gotta make and I can speak to that because I'm a millennial. As stated, I'll be 37 years old in a couple of weeks. So, I get it. And I'm that one that, that has went against the grain,
Mm-hmm.
continuously goes against the grain, and just trying to teach others how to, as we're having this conversation, authentically be you. Be
Yeah.
who you're supposed to be, stand up in your truth, and the universe and the world will make room for you.
But make room for you. Now,
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
it's so interesting. Go ahead, Orion, because I know you just heard that.
No, yeah, I was just agreeing with him. I agree. You that's the way to do it, and but I was my point that I was making earlier. It's so many different ways for them to make money. You don't have to always go to college. You
No.
got people that's playing video games. They got millions of followers and make millions of dollars a year from playing video games, from people watching them play.
When I was in
And
Las
they got
Vegas,
sponsors.
yep, yep, yep. When I lived in Las Vegas, the coffee shop lady, her husband, she brought him to meet me because they just love me at the coffee shop. But, he literally made his living gaming. And he showed me he told me with the blueprint because I was like, let me tell my grandson this.
Look, since you playing all day or you want to sit
You
on it
playing
all
all
day.
day and you're making more money than this. And it's like, wow, literally, I didn't even know that you could do that.
Oh yeah, that's an entire industry.
An entire
Yeah.
industry.
Yeah.
And now they actually have the technology. They have all the little trinket. Everything is gaming this, gaming that, gaming headsets, gaming keyboard. I'm like, okay, technology to follow.
It's the future.
Mm-hmm.
It's the future of this world. It's the future of where we're going. And you still got a lot of people, probably more so people that are older than myself, who are still kind of a little apprehensive towards catching up. But if you don't catch up, you're gonna get left behind.
So let me
I
ask
know.
you this question then. Right, because Orion, like I'm already trying to catch up. Is
You know what? I grew up from streets. Bad boys move in silence. We'll broadcast what we do and what we say. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
We gonna tell people where we at. We gonna,
But look,
we gonna tell
the
people
movie,
where we at until it's over with.
it's a series I want you to watch on Netflix called Startup, and they talk about
Oh,
how
I love
a lot of
startup.
a lot of the street
I love
arachnet, a lot
startup.
of
I love
arachnet.
startup too. I love startup.
I love startup.
Man,
Yep.
that's a deep series. Yes.
Yes,
That
it
and
is.
manifest.
Yeah.
Manifest is telling us some stuff too. But
Yes.
so let me ask you to look at this in light of what we've been talking about. How does knowing one's history actually help them to move out of the matrix? How does that have, what does that have to do for young people?
You want me to
I'm
go
always,
first?
Ron, you can go first. I'm always one to let my, I was raised
Man,
right.
you
I'm
you know
always
what?
one to
You know
let my
what?
elders
That's
say
why I
something.
love you, man. That's why I love you. You're a good dude. But for me, history, first of all, we've been bombarded with a lie
Mm-hmm.
about history and what true history is, and what our history is and how it's been hidden. So you got to know your truth. You got to know your past. You got to tap into what your people went through,
Mm-hmm.
and not just us for African Americans here in the United States, but people from other countries that has connections to other countries. It's a whole nother way of doing things besides a Western culture.
That's right.
And you want to tap into that. You want to tap into how your family members and your ancestors tapped into the difficulties. What were their successes? What were the challenges that they overcame? What did you come from, and how can you handle yourself during this time or your time? And learn from that. So history is very important. And you get to tap into other spirituality besides the Christian belief. Not speaking against
No,
Christianity,
I know, right.
but it's other things. It's other things besides that you can tap into and learn more about your people, what they how they worshiped or how they spent time in nature as worshiping and all the rest of that good
Come
stuff.
on.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's very important.
Yeah. What else would you add to that, Tanner?
No, I would say, knowing your history also allows you to know what strengths are in your bloodline. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
What your people were good at, what your people excelled at. And, it also allows you to know the things that they weren't good at and the things that you probably should, potentially stray away from.
Right.
Even as it relates to sickness and disease and things of that nature. Knowing your history, you're able to know, well, my mother or my grandmother or my great great grandmother had diabetes or breast cancer, or things of that nature. So, it's important for me to, change my lifestyle or change my eating habits or some of the things that I'm doing or that I may have been doing to ensure that I'm able to combat some of that stuff and not, fall into some of those same sicknesses.
Mm-hmm.
History is
Yeah.
everything to me.
History, yeah, and it does make a difference. I like how you did that because a lot of times, and this has always been my beef in school, they want to start African American history at slavery. Like, dude,
It started before that.
long before then, and when, literally, if you look at the country of Africa, it is the only country, a continent that is a Pangea. In other words, it literally sits in the earth, that everything else has broken off from it and became its own land. But that Pangea means that the earth is always replenishing that continent that is full of wealth and abundance. And you're going to tell us we're poor people? You know this was a brainwashing game. Okay,
Yeah.
because everything over there, that's why I loved, Black Panther. Let's talk about Wakanda for real, because over there is nothing but resources after resources after resources. But you have all of these different countries, France and Britain and everybody going over there
Pulling
putting their
from
flag. Come on.
it.
Right.
Yes.
Yep.
So part of that history, we have to teach it from a different perspective because no, I didn't come from slaves.
We do. Even going
Exactly.
down to just taking a look at the U.S. dollar and how our pyramids are
Oh,
all over American money.
yes,
But we have no abundance.
yeah,
We're nothing.
yeah.
We didn't come from anything. It's just amazing how they were able to just strip out of our memory and out of our lineage, just an entire history
Come
of
on.
where people have come from, and what they were. We come from a line of kings and queens. We weren't poor. We
No,
weren't feeding people
no,
hand to mouth. We
no.
weren't. We were abundance. We
Yes,
had it all,
we are
which is why
abundance.
they
Right.
came. Which is why they came and got us.
Yeah, and they didn't come and
Right.
just get us. They got the doctors, the physicians, the astrologers, the engineers. They got those people to help them to build over here. It wasn't just people they needed to work the land. They got the people with the brains. And they feed us
Hmm.
all of that kind of stuff. But really, part of it is us being willing to slow down enough, right? To slow down enough so that we can actually teach that. And that goes to my next question. How do we get young people to honor and respect their elders and ancestors so that they too can learn about that and tap into their power, their gifts, their lineage? Because our ancestors are just waiting to share with us. Just how do we do that?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I think first of all, we need to, like we all just said, teach them about our history, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because our people, they honored their elderly and they honored their ancestors, and they knew that they were their own ancestors, right? That they were in their DNA, that
Yep.
they were part of their spirit, part of their energy, and that what's more is on the other side of the veil, where the unseen that we can't see with our physical eye, that the ancestors were sending them energy
Come
and,
on.
and, and sending them help. And
Yep.
so when you can explain to them that, hey, you know what, you're going to be an elder and you're also going to be an ancestor. And what's more is you probably once was an ancestor also.
Yep.
A
You
lot of people
coming
don't want
through.
to talk
You're right.
about that,
Come
but
on.
that's helping them understand that, hey, honor what was before you and
Mm-hmm.
honor what's coming after you, because you're part of the cycle.
Mm-hmm. Part of the cycle. Go ahead, Tanner.
I just think it ultimately starts in the home, one home at a time. We've left it up to the educational system to teach our kids, which they failed us tremendously.
Tremendously.
So, as a modern day, parent, I think it's important that you teach your own kids Black history. You teach your own kids,
Hmm.
the importance of where they come from, the importance of their history and their lineage. In addition, as Ron stated, teaching them the importance of tapping into the elders. Oftentimes they view the elders as people that just want to discipline, and that just want to just whoop me, or catch me when I'm doing wrong and put
Yeah.
me in my place. And it's not that. Elders should be honored. Elders have something that they could pour into you and something that they can teach you. A lot of these young kids, you know, they act as if, they've lived 2, 3 times before us, like they know it all. And, we're just here and, we don't know anything. We're just blocking them from living their best life and being who they want to be, when that's just not the case.
Right.
So, as stated, I think it just starts at the home with going back to the basics, and, teaching the importance of respect, the
Mm-hmm.
importance of
Yeah.
listening to your elders, honoring your elders, and things of that nature. I think, if every parent today can just take that on, as a goal and as a responsibility, I think we can make a huge change as far as shifting the tide to what is taking place with our kids.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Yep, I agree with that. Let me add this. Also, by example, I have an ancestral altar.
Yeah.
I have also, and I tell my kids what I do,
Yep.
and I tell them why I do it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I need help, and I'm pulling from the energy of my ancestors, and I sit out in the sun and commune with that energy from my
Mm-hmm. Oh, there you go, Tan. Orion, you went out again. You went out again, Orion. Hold on, Orion. Can you hear me? You went out again.
That's all part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we missed all of that, Orion, because you went out.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Just go back. Just go
So let
back.
me recap.
Yep, yep. We
Let,
heard the part where
let
you
me
never.
recap. So
Oh,
what I
yeah,
was saying.
yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So I was just saying that try to lead by example with honoring my ancestors and my elders and things like that, and showing them how to do that. And on Juneteenth, we actually pour libations and acknowledge all of our ancestors, our dead loved ones. We say their names and things like that.
Right.
So that's what we do to try to lead by example. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really great because I
Uh,
actually have plants that I pour libation to on a regular basis, specifically for like my grandmother, my mother, my
mhm.
sister, my best friend. I literally pour libation on a regular basis to them, and then I also have an altar, for my ancestors and those have gone on. But it's really living that example is really the best antidote because if you can tell somebody what to do, but if you can't show them what to do, they don't know how it works anyway.
That's
They don't
true.
know. I've had plenty of times where I've been places and I got a message that said, leave. you know,
And
I,
immediately you got up
I
and
left. I
left.
didn't stand there and go, who? No, I left. Didn't say
and
nothing
that
to nobody.
and
Right.
that's one thing that
Yep.
I've done as well, because I think, a lot of people have such a fear of death,
Mm-hmm.
and ancestors that have went on and transitioned. Oftentimes a lot of people are like, oh, I'm scared of having a spiritual encounter, or I'm scared of ghosts. And it's like, no, those people went on to prepare the way for you. They
Mm-hmm.
went on to see what's coming and to serve, as an angel and as a guide for you while you're still here in this terrain, to ensure that you can to ensure that you don't fall victim to certain things, and to
Mm-hmm.
ensure that you make it over into the transition successfully. So
Yep.
that's another thing that I've done, just trying to get my children to get out of the fear of death and leaving this world, and just, coaching them on understanding that there is a life after this,
Yes.
that's waiting for
Mhm.
you, and that there's a whole, world of ancestors and family members that are waiting for you with open arms.
And
Yeah.
that we're so attached to this world, we're so attached to the material, the 3D version of this world, that we're not cultivating the spiritual side so that we can live on the other side. That the purpose of
That's
our
true.
work here is to cultivate, to ascend, so that we can, have a connection. But we're so, in the matrix is part of the 3D, paradigm that keeps us locked in. And you get attached to your things, but you also get attached to your body. But we're more than our body.
Hmm.
I had a client call me the other day and wanted me to step through some challenges she was having making sense of an out of body experience. And I love those kind of conversations, and it's like, well, what was the message? What was what, and this and this and this, and then how does that relate? I mean, I love it because it tells me that she's opening up to another level of understanding, for herself, that has
Hmm.
that, because inside us is our real coaches, right? Our real life coach is in
Yep.
us.
Spirit. Yep.
So
Hmm.
part of our work as coaches is to get people to sit still and listen so that they can hear that, and then live from their soul and not so much from what other people are telling them to do. But is it really possible for
Yep.
young people to live their truth? Is that
I
possible?
think I think it
I
is. I'm sorry, I'm jumping in before Ron on this one. I
Go
think it is, and
Go ahead.
I think our modern day children show us that every day. You
ahead.
know, it's
Mm.
certain things that my son do sometime, and I'm like, well, I've had a talk with you before about this, and I've told you not to do this, and it's like he turned around and still do what he want to do, regardless of what I said. So I totally think that with the right coaching and guidance, they do have the ability to live a full, authentic life,
Yeah,
outside of the matrix as their own self.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree with that. As long as you have people in your, as long as they have people in their circle that's going to help them cultivate and dig and find out who they truly are, not who the parents want them to be, or who society wants them to be, or who the teachers or anybody else want them to be, but who they are authentically, and then they can live truly to themselves, true to themselves that way.
yeah. That I'm glad that you brought that up too, because most of the time, what parents tend to do is do this, and then if you don't do that and you do something else, what do? They take their love and support, don't they? Oh,
Yeah.
you gonna do that? Okay, well, you on your own, right? But literally,
Yeah.
in order for them to live their truth, we want to be able to say, "Oh, okay, well, you choosing that path? Okay, I'm with you," because that's what we would do with our friend. We wouldn't tell our friend, "I told you to do so and so, so and so. You gonna do all that?" No, man, but no, we wouldn't do that. We'd be right there with them. And that's what these young people are showing. And I
Yeah.
had to retrain myself to do that with my children, because my family was definitely like, if you don't do what I want you to do, I ain't supporting nothing. And they didn't. They didn't support me. My whole life is
Right.
about no support. But really, it's to get me to this point where I can still do what I have to do with no support.
Exactly.
That's the work.
Exactly.
Well, with no
Exactly.
physical support, because the
Exactly.
support, the
The support,
universe is
come
always
on,
there.
say that. That's right. That's right. The
Yep.
ancestors
Yep.
are still with me.
Yep.
What
And
would
I
you say,
always tell
SJ?
the kids,
Mm-hmm.
I always tell the kids that I mentor, and the kids that I talk to and come and have conversations with, you didn't come here to live nobody else's life. You didn't
Yeah.
come here to live your parents' life. You didn't come here to live what your mama wants you to do, or your daddy wants you to do, or what your church wants you to do. Anybody, your life is yours. You responsible for that. So you have to find out what your passions are, what your purpose is. You can't please everybody. It's yours. You get one at this time, and you got to use it for what you're supposed to use it for.
And I'm so glad that you spoke on that, because, I come from a family, I grew up in church. You know what I'm saying? I grew up practicing religion. And I think around the time I turned 21, 22, my spirit just started venturing outside of that. And, I got to a place where even now, and, I don't mean to offend anyone, because I know we have, all types of people that are watching the broadcast today,
Right.
but I'm just not a fan of corporate organized religion. I'm just not. I've transcended into more of a spiritual being, more of a spiritual person. And, I just think that, it's important for a lot of people to go through that process and to learn who they are and to find out what works best for them, and to not just go along with the flow or with the program just because this is what's been presented to you, or this is what you've been told as being right, or the way to live, or the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of times they are hit over the head and brainwashed in a fear-based part of religion, right? I know I was. I
I think
we
we
were
all
afraid.
were.
We
We
all
were
were.
afraid. We were afraid. Like I grew up a Jehovah's Witness, so
Oh,
man, I
that's
was
even
afraid to
worse.
walk into another church.
Right.
Yeah,
So I was so it takes you years and years, and I was born into
program
it. So it
yourself. Yes.
Yeah, it was so fear-based programming and stuff like that, and it's ridiculous, man. And a lot of people can't live authentically because they worried about what God gonna disapprove of them about it. And it's not even really about that.
And more
It's
importantly,
really
they
not even
worried
about
about going to hell, but that's a whole nother conversation right there.
yeah. Yeah,
Well,
yeah, that's true.
right.
That is true.
I
So
say to people all the time, you if until you can denounce your parents, and I don't mean dishonor, but just like let me find myself without my parents, denounce religion and denounce education, you almost don't know who you are because all of that
Exactly.
yeah,
has programmed you to be someone different, right? And then when you,
yeah,
and I'm glad you said
yeah.
that you teach your children to question everything because all of those have to be questioned,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
So,
Even what I say, question it all.
question it all. So, if college isn't for everyone, what other things can young people do that will lead them to a successful life? Because they push in college and that's a whole nother program and it's a money stream. And then you hook for life
Yeah.
because your everything that you make is going back to pay a student loan. So you don't get to use your education to advance your finances.
That's true. That's true. I'm gonna say this here. I'm not gonna speak against college
Not against
because
it, right? But I'm saying,
uh
what other things can you do?
right, right,
Right.
right. So it's plenty things. You can do a trade, you can become an entrepreneur, which I encourage, but you got to know business, learn business, find somebody to coach you or get with somebody that's in business that you want to do because it's some things that you're not going to know. And so college can be important because it
Yes.
wasn't important to me at first because I was taught not to go to college because of religious reasons.
Yeah.
But I went back to school when I was 35 and I graduated at almost 39
Mm-hmm.
when I got through. So, but it taught me so much more.
Yep.
So much more. I hate the bill, that $90,000 bill that I got. I hate that.
Yeah.
And I could have done it without it.
Now,
So
but
you
you know
it's
that
college.
now, but then, right? Yeah.
It's, right, exactly. But I did learn some valuable things about myself and how to push through and expand my resiliency and my capacity because there was a lot of things going on. But at the same time, my businesses that I started had nothing to do with college. I
Mm-hmm.
was just out there getting with other people that ran businesses and learn from them. And if you could do that, especially if you're passionate about something, get with somebody and learn under them that is smart, that's willing to teach you, because a lot of us don't want to teach each other nothing. They're
Yeah.
afraid
Agreed.
that you're gonna be
Totally
better.
agree.
But if you can find somebody that's going to give you the knowledge that you need, and another thing is between Google
Come
and
on.
YouTube,
Come on.
you
You
can
can
do
learn
anything.
everything in this
You
world.
can do anything nowadays. You can learn everything.
I saw
And
somebody
with
Google
Udemy
how
and
to
with all
deliver a baby. They Googled how to deliver a baby. I'm like, wow. Yeah.
right. So it's so many different avenues. And that's what living outside the matrix is for me. Tapping into what you passionate about, tapping into your purpose, tapping into some things that you want to just find out information about and see if you could do it. That's living outside the matrix, because it's so many different ways it's so many different avenues for you to get paid.
Yeah.
So you
That's it.
you
Agreed.
you definitely you definitely don't have to go to college,
Right.
but if you want to, go ahead. But if
Right.
you don't, pursue something else.
Right. What were you gonna say,
Agreed.
Tanner?
No,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying he hit it on the head. I mean, he really hit all those parts. My progress was a little different. I actually did go to college.
Mm-hmm.
I went to undergraduate at Tuskegee University off of a full ride HBCU scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
I've always
Oh
been
man.
gifted when it came to education and knowledge, etc. I graduated, top of my high school class.
Hmm.
I finished my MBA in I finished my undergraduate in 3.5 years.
Right.
Went into corporate America, moved to Washington, D.C., started working for the government, went back to grad school at Howard, got my MBA,
Yeah.
stayed in corporate America. I'm actually still in corporate America,
Hmm.
but going through all of that taught me that, yes, you were able to excel in school. You were very collegiate, but that's not really what you were placed here to do. And it taught me, that you don't have to, as he stated, fall into line with what society is telling you need to do to be successful, that you can make your own way and live your truth authentically and make a living doing what you were created to do, which is why I'm here life coaching now.
That's right.
And I find myself getting way more. I'm way more inspired. I'm way more happy, and I just feel so much more fulfillment helping others find their way than I feel with running major $1 million programs.
Come on now, and getting paid to do that.
And
Right.
I just felt the need to say that
Yeah.
because when you do what you were created to do authentically, and I think I've said this several times on the broadcast today, the universe is going to make room for you. You're gonna you're
Man,
gonna you're gonna you're gonna make money. You're gonna be taken care of. You're gonna
man.
be paid. Every need that you have is gonna be met.
You know
Yep.
what? I
Even if it
gotta.
don't,
Go ahead, Brian. O'Brien.
even if you're not even getting paid to use your gift, it's coming in another
It's
form.
coming in
That's
another
what I
form.
had to learn.
Yes,
Yes, it
it's
is.
coming
It's
in
Yes, it
coming
another
in
is.
form.
another form
You
because you're gonna
know,
be
And
taken care
you're
of.
gonna get taken
Yep.
care of. It's
and I
so
think it's
interesting.
important.
That's
I'm
right.
sorry.
It's all in divine order, right? My person literally was the first grandchild that my grandmother raised, and I was the baby that graduated from high school, and nobody in the family came to the graduation.
Wow.
And one of my teachers
That's
said, if we
interesting.
don't get you
Mhm.
out of Chicago, you're going to die. And they literally found a college in Lamar's, Iowa, that would take me at a late date. And the security guards bought my
Mhm.
luggage. The clerk in the office bought my airline ticket, and I went to college. And that's all ever wanted to do.
Saved your life.
I was valedictorian in the eighth grade, and I wanted to skip high school because everybody was dropping out. I say something wrong with high school. I don't want to do high school. I want to go eighth grade to college. Something wrong. I got
Yeah.
to college, and when I tell you that I had no idea how powerful my leadership skills were.
Yes.
Okay. And I was at a predominantly white college. And I became a senator, a RA, and and everybody else, my color was there on a athletic scholarship. I was the only one there academically. And
And I had that same experience. And
right.
for me, I always tell people all the time, leaving Chicago saved my life.
I'm telling you, I didn't come back for 10
Yeah.
years. I didn't come back for 10 years. And the only real reason I came back is because I had gotten married and my husband was killed. So it was like I got my children, I gotta go
Mhm.
back and around my family. I gotta have some support, right?
I
And
think
then
that's what bring us all
that bring us all back. I
back.
got my family. And then, man, corporate America, I went to work at Motorola and they started training me. And I was like, Motorola sent me to coaching school because I was a manager. So they sent me to learn how to coach my team. And I said, well,
Look at me raising
right,
my
Wow.
hand.
come on. I went to Franklin Covey Time Management School. They showed me how to write manuals. I mean, they paid for me to get all it. And all I could think of, my people need this kind of training. How do I get this to my
Yeah.
people? I had no idea that the universe was like, just take it easy. We got you. You got to get this preliminary stuff done first, right?
Right.
And it's good that you say
Right.
that because it's a good segue just to allowing people to understand that we're not knocking college. We're not saying that
Oh,
it's all bad, because
it's
it's
saying
not
that choose. Don't feel bad if that's not what you want
for
to do.
you,
But
because
there's
you
other
have
things.
kids that are not, as gifted academically, and
Yeah,
that don't enjoy school but are very good with their hands.
that's
You
right.
have kids that don't
Mhm.
like math and science but that are excellent computer
Come
programmers.
on.
You don't have to go to college to do that,
No.
you know.
And Google is now giving what? You see, Google got a 6 week certificate you can take
Yes,
to get a job with them. They
yes.
said you can learn this online 6 week and come get a job, and our trainers will train you.
And I just think about my daughter, like, she kind of has a lot of my characteristics as far as the gifting is concerned. But my daughter she runs track. She's an
Yep.
excellent track star. My daughter does nails. My
Yeah.
daughter makes wigs. I
Come
mean,
on.
she does everything. And I pour into her, and I tell her, I know that your ultimate goal is to be in medicine, and you want to become a Black female surgeon, and you want to conquer that, but you got all of these other gifts that God placed in you that you can use if that one don't work out the way you want it to work out.
Baby, them 10 talents. I keep telling people the whole story in the Bible about the 10 talents. You have 10 talents. You better cultivate them.
Yeah,
Everybody has a way to survive. It's not just one thing we came here to do.
yeah.
You're going to be all right. But I want to ask because I know I'm like, oh, don't run away, time. Wait, wait, wait. But what does self care have to do with for young people to live out the matrix? Why is self care so important for young people? Because a lot of them don't take it seriously.
Yeah, it's very important. And I'm gonna give you an example. Naomi Osaka, right? She
Mm-hmm.
just stepped away from playing tennis, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Millions of dollars potentially, right?
yes,
Mm-hmm.
Because of her mental health, and she felt the need to take care of herself. And
Mm-hmm.
I know that a lot of us ain't got the money that Naomi has, and we can't say, I'm gonna not do this job or quit this job. But if the job is not good for you and it's killing you, and you're not able to thrive in it, you probably need to find something else to do.
That
And also self-care is finding that thing that you love to do, that's going to settle you down,
mm-hmm.
that helps you tap into yourself and take care of yourself. And that one thing for me, I like taking hot baths with candles and things like that, right?
Come on, come
I'm,
on.
I'm so sincere, right? So
Yes.
and then I like sitting in the park on the bench by myself. I like going to the movies by myself, and just doing some things to cultivate my spirit, to get me energized. I love working out, playing basketball. So you got to find out what that thing that's your go-to thing, that's going to give you energy, that you love doing, that's going to give you enough energy to keep going throughout the next day until you can get back to that thing.
And you know what? I'm glad you brought her up because there's somebody in her camp not making sure that she knows what self care is.
Mm-hmm.
You know that
Yeah.
people are
Yeah.
eating off of her. They're eating off of her, but they're not making sure that her self care is at the top. Because when you're putting out
Mm-hmm.
like that and you don't, I want to tell these people, do you all teach them how to breathe to center?
Probably not. But
No,
athletes, yeah, probably not. They
probably
just teach
not.
them about mindfulness. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's
What were you
true.
going to say, Tanner?
no, I was gonna say, as well, self-care, involves, as he stated, it also involves, just evaluating your thoughts and removing anything from your life that's stressful or anything that may not be good for you. I don't think we
Oh,
teach our kids that, which oftentimes leads to, kids succumbing to bullying and things of that nature just to fit in and just to be accepted. you know um that involves teaching your kids that, you know, if a person cannot respect you or accept you authentically for who you are, then that's probably not a person that you need to have in your environment, and not a person that you need to have in your camp and around you. So, you know, as you taught us, Moo, you know, self-care wholeheartedly involves, number one, breathing, number
Mm,
two, meditating,
Mm.
and number three, evaluating your thoughts daily and
All the
consistently.
time. Yes, all the time.
yeah.
Raising your vibration.
Hmm.
Which
Yeah.
reminds me, you know, Tanner, we got some vibration work to do soon.
And we do. We do.
Yes,
It's,
Ryan
look, the
already
work is never done.
Ryan already tapped in, so we gotta get you tapped in, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very important. So now, I want, you know, before we close out, I want you guys to, you know, just think about your last words that you would share with people that's listening. If you have any resources, if you have any programs coming up that you want people to participate in, and then any services that you're offering. And also let people know, how can they reach you? Where can they find you? Where can they follow you and engage with you?
I, you want me to go first, Tanner? So you, so first of all, I want to say, make sure that you are breathing the center, like was said, and that you are tapping into your own true, authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
It sometimes it takes years for you to deprogram what's been programmed into you. Um, I would say also look at your trauma, because
Mm-hmm.
it's some hidden gems in your trauma.
Yes.
And it's probably leading you to your transformation of what you're supposed to be doing with your purpose.
Yeah.
I tell people that the passion is for you. Whatever you're passionate about is for you,
Mm-hmm.
and what your purpose is for everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So find those two things or those 10 things,
Mm-hmm.
and tap into that and learn how to live for yourself first before you can live for anybody else. So my tagline is love yourself first, because you ain't gonna be no good to nobody else. You can't love nobody else.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, you can find me at interchangeable, INNER changeable.com. I'm working on my site. I had to take it down and put it back up, but it'll be back up soon. It's interchangeable.com. It's transformation coaching. We have packets on helping people set goals, packets on mentorship, accountability, and just transformation itself. So that's how you tap into me. And as far as resources go, I love Alan Watts. I
Mm-hmm.
love Alan Watts. I love Joe Dispenza.
Yeah.
At one book is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Man, that is a number one transformation book for me, because it breaks down scientifically how the body acts and how the mind acts and how to overcome those things. And it's got meditations in it. So
Mm-hmm.
live authentically and find out what you're here to do. Don't just settle on what you feel you have to do. You got to start living and thriving and not just existing and surviving.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. That's right. Okay, Tanner.
And I know that our conversation today was geared towards, you know, giving adults tools and resources to help children. So I would say, you know, as adults, just make sure that we're always there and present, you know. And when I say there and present, I'm not just saying physically, you know, make sure you're there mentally as well as physically
Mm.
and spiritually. You know, have those conversations with your children, talk with your children. When you see that they're going through behavioral changes or that they're exhibiting anger and things of that nature, 9 times out of 10, it's something at the core that's going on that has not been, you know, discovered or tapped or touched into. I think oftentimes, you know, we're focused on, you know, as you stated, you know, throughout the broadcast, disciplining our kids and, you know, putting them in their place when they're doing something wrong. But I think as a part of the discipline, it's also important to have those conversations, to have that family time, to give your kids the ability to try different things. Don't box them in. Don't say, oh, well, your father played basketball, so that's the only sport that you're good at. No, allow them to play soccer. Let them play football, let them play badminton, let them golf, let them play
That's
tennis,
right.
allow them to experience life as a whole
Yeah.
and to make their own decisions and to, authentically be the person that they were created to be. I think that that's so important.
That is
Um,
important.
as far as things that I'm working on, I'm actually in the process of launching my coaching business, Creative Soul Work.
Yeah.
It's a work in the making. I still got a little work to do working on my website now and just getting everything developed and set up for my official launch. So you guys could look out for that. In the meantime, for coaching resources, or if you're looking for a life or transformational coach, I am currently accepting clients. I can be reached on Facebook at Tanner Times, or you can, that's TANNERTIMES, or I can be reached on Instagram at underscore creative soul work. That's underscore CREATIVESOULWORK.
Cool.
Yeah,
Well, what?
I forgot to put my Facebook. They can direct message me at THE-ORONMANSON for my coaching packages. That's the Oron. That's my full name with a little bit of ego in it because I'm a fashion designer. So that's when I started my Facebook page. I was designing and making clothes. So
The
yeah,
Orion.
yep, yep.
Well,
Look,
thank you.
and I
Look,
changed my name to Tanner Times because my page is an experience. You're gonna get a little bit of everything.
I love this dude. I love this dude. Hey man, I didn't know you was from out west. We definitely got a link.
Absolutely, man.
wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Well, you guys were amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so grateful for your energy, your time, your knowledge, your wisdom, your enthusiasm. It was just great being with you. And, I am always just so grateful that the universe, bring me such amazing people because you keep me growing, and moving and it's like, wow, look at these amazing brothers right here. It's like, you're in my circle of influence. How cool is that?
Thank you. And I
How
think I think as men, what you having us two men on tonight, it shows
yeah,
that, all of us ain't out here being knuckleheads, not taking care of our
right.
responsibility, not raising, being a advocate for raising the village and, helping our people to become. There's some of us out here that's dedicated to that. And I just
Come
want to
on.
thank you for the opportunity tonight. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
you're welcome.
Yes, yes, yes. I am grateful for you, Moon. Thanks. Today was a struggle for me, and I
Yes,
wasn't gonna do it, but I had to get out my way. I had
that's
to get
right.
out of my way and remember that it wasn't for me. My gift is not for me, and I
Yep.
truly enjoyed it. My spirit, my soul needed it, so I'm
Yes.
grateful for the outlet and allowing you allow me back onto the show.
Yes, well, I'm gonna always call on you guys because I am always just so moved by what shows up in these conversations. You don't
Mhm.
know, you know what I mean? But look, we have content that will make a difference for people in their lives. So
Right.
I'm grateful that you make time for it. And tomorrow night, we actually have one of the other coaches, Victory Pulliam, and she's talking about New Earth children.
I can't
Mm.
wait for that
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to that, and that's really what we're dealing with. Our children are a part of the new earth, and they come to grow us up. Like
Right.
Tanner said, we got to catch up with them. They gonna leave us
That's
behind.
true.
Like, oh yeah, we got this earth. We don't know what earth y'all are. So thank you all, thank you audience for joining us. In for all of the videos that we've created this week or all the segments, you can find them on YouTube under Ignite Your Soul Connection. You can also find them on Facebook on our fan page, Ignite Your Soul Connection, and also on Master Force International Leadership Academy page. And we look forward to our last 2 nights, so we hope you can join us. In the meantime, have a great life. Thank you. Good night.
Good night,